Hello, friends. Welcome back to Saturday Evenings Posted Mostly presents with me, your host, Trevor Stewart, 1308. We're not really doing anything in particular today, other than breakfast with the Kush gang. We're here with the ASOC Prod Cat and the Peanut Gallery. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
And today's breakfast with the Kush gang, they were out of drip, so they're waiting on bottles to make more drip. So it's only the Kush juice and a Rice Krispie treat and a Cookie Crisp treat. I think it looks
Okay.
like Cookie Crisp. But we're also going to do a product review because they did actually have flour there. So we're going to test their flour. Raspberry taffy. We may also try the peanut butter breath. So that will be happening after I eat. And then, of course, as you know, the rest of today's pre-rolls will be provided by The Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, on the Downtown Mall, 105 West Main Street, Suite 200, above the bricks, between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. A great place to go with some great buds to get some great buds, eh, bud? Also, also, the only thing better than their bud is their customer service, and they have the lowest prices in town, according to my own personal, highly biased research. By which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my biased research. A note of disclosure, we are an opinionated group of people. This is an opinionated channel. All of the opinions you hear herein are 100% correct, but they also only belong to the expresser of the opinion and possibly the channel. They do not belong to any of our sponsors, such as The Hidden Leaf, The Kush Gang, or Firehouse. Firehouse and the Kush Gang can be found at Frosty Fridays at the Friday sales event at the Hidden Leaf. Check the Hidden Leaf's website for times and events. The website is thehiddenleafcville.com. That's The Hidden Leaf, CVILLE, all one word, .com.
That extra is important.
The all one word or the spelling of Seville?
The spelling is Seville.
Yeah, it occurred to me that people may not realize that. I mean, they may do SEA or SEE or, any number of things. And if you don't notice that it is Seville, oh, that is Cookie Crisp. That is definitely Cookie Crisp.
All right, you need to do the howl.
Cookie Crisp.
Yes.
Oh, this looks amazing. Look at the marshmallow layer on the bottom there. Oh. Well, I need something to drink after this. Mm. 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 That's good. An infused R Ice Krispy treat seems like a truly mean thing to do to someone. I mean, a regular treat is not filling at all. In fact, they seem to make you aware of how empty your stomach really is. And then you go and infuse it. I mean, very, very true, Peanut Gallery. Very true. I have I have dieting theories. Things like calories consumed while standing in front of the fridge don't count. Calories consumed in the form of something that takes more calories to process don't count, such as eating an Italian ice. At the very least, it's a wash, not a net calorie gain. Also, infused calories don't count.
There we go. Now I can hear you.
I said infused calories don't count.
Ah. Infused, not confused. Okay.
Confused calories don't count either.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, we're gonna be good about it.
Like, impossible meat doesn't count because it doesn't know if it's vegetable calories or meat calories, so it's confused calories. Doesn't count.
I can agree with that one.
Yes, peanut gallery, exactly. The dieting commandment of thou shalt not weigh more than thine fridge.
That's a good commandment. I can appreciate that one.
I mean, you can get close, and you can always adjust it by putting more stuff in the fridge.
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
I had a friend. I had a friend who unfortunately is no longer with us, as many of my friends apparently are. He was a big guy. I mean, big guy. I met him in high school. He was best friends with one of my brothers. So, and I remember the first time he came over to our house and my dad saw him, looks at him and looks at our fridge. He goes, "Dang, that boy is bigger than our fridge."
Oh, no.
He was, too. He was taller by like a half a head, and his shoulders were like as wide, if not just a little wider, than the fridge. He was a big, big guy. He went on to be a manager at Music Today.
Okay.
And was, for a long time, was a manager there until he passed away from cancer. I want to say 5 or 6 years ago. 6 or 7 years ago, maybe. It's been a while, but yeah, it was, it's a little weird when your friends who were a couple years younger than you, not like a lot younger, but still younger than you, It's a little
Mhm.
weird when they start passing away
Yeah.
from natural causes, and you all of a sudden realize, oh, I'm at the age where my friends are gonna start going because age takes people.
Mm-hmm.
And then to realize that, like, it's not any different. The numbers of people or percentages of friends dying every year isn't really going up for me. It's
No.
just that now it makes sense.
Yes.
Before it
Yes.
was confusing and, upsetting, and now it's like, well, okay, we're old. It tracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to disagree with the confusing and upsetting part. I mean, yes, many times that may be the case. Come on. Young people do dumb stuff. And sometimes consequences aren't that confusing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I can see that one.
I've got a few friends. It was upsetting, yes. Overdoses are upsetting. But they really are hardly ever all that confusing. Usually You're like, oh, that's not good. That friend is not gonna last much longer.
Yeah.
So that all went to a dark place very quickly.
We usually do. In all honesty, we start off on some of the most bizarre topics, and we're either going to go very dark very quickly, or we're going to end up in Care Bear territory and not be sure what happened.
That is true.
Those are not uncommon for us to do both at the same time.
That is, yes. Yes.
That is
Which
also
then
true.
potentially leaves any listeners questioning greatly what they walked into and feeling like a yo-yo.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not bad for them,
Mm.
usually.
Mm. I don't know, man. I do feel like we can give people emotional whiplash.
Well, I mean, yeah. That's good. They get a chance to experience the full range of emotions that we bring to the show.
That is true.
So, if we make people feel like yo-yos, that means we're making a whole bunch of cellists.
Hey, know ya ma jokes.
It wasn't yo-ma, it was yo-yo-ma.
Either way,
I was about to say something about a yo-yo ma, but I realized how wrong that would be.
I don't know. It has its ups and downs.
which is the third emotion that we display prominently. Caution mixed with terrible puns.
Bad puns. Bad puns. Bad puns.
I said terrible. That covers bad.
We find ourselves often conflicted, both laughing our asses off and feeling absolutely terrible, like a terrible person for laughing our asses off.
Yes. Yes, we do.
That is accurate.
I say we should start referring to bad puns as paper jokes. Because they're terrible. You can thank Brock for that one.
No, I'm not going to thank him. hold up one of those puns and throw it at him. That's what I'm going to do. Although, thinking on that one, I saw a really adorable video
So good.
where the guy, one of the people getting married, was a pilot. So instead of throwing rice, they all threw paper airplanes at him as they walked out of the church.
Doing that, you got to be careful. You could put somebody's eye out.
They had goggles. They're good.
Okay.
You can do that with rice too. So
Yeah, but your aim has to be a lot better.
I don't know. It's a lot more of a shotgun effect that way.
I mean, that's true.
I'll
I
find
was
it
going
out.
with a single grain of rice at a time.
Yeah, no. What makes you think that we're going to sit there and do precision rice throwing?
Okay, some of us think in terms of being a sniper.
Yes.
Some of us can't help it.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, did you
have-
guys see the meme? Did you guys see the meme of the two cars passing and the people looking at each other confusedly? And on the
We saw
top,
the show it came from.
the sniper picking up the handgun because the enemy is too close. Shotgunner picking up the handgun because the enemy is too far.
Yeah.
I love that one.
I wish to note that I had roughly this conversation with my brother last night when I called to wish him happy birthday. Because while we were talking, he was playing Overwatch.
Oh.
The paper airplanes are the sniper mode because you have a large bullet, one shot at a time, and you can aim that set of a gun. Right? That's
It's shotgun mode. I see. Well, not if I get hit with the airplane I don't see.
Kind of the point. Kind of the point there.
All right, so we are starting with the raspberry taffy.
Okay.
It's quite pretty. Here, let me hold it up so you guys can see. It's indica.
No, you took it out of the wrapper.
I got nothing. Now, I really wanted to have a comeback for that, but I got nothing.
Whenever you say the actual strain name or whatever, indica always sounds like you're saying it's in the cup.
In the
No, you
cup.
took it out. Yes. Nope, you took it out of the wrapper. It's not in there anymore.
Indica. In the couch. How you can remember which one is good for chilling out and which one is good for doing stuff.
Wow.
In the couch and sativa for a Saturday morning.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. It's very smooth. Nice even taste.
So good.
Yeah, that is good. Consistent hits. Well, all right. Let's get down to some desk pounding and ranting and raving.
Okay.
Because that's we don't have long for today's show, and that's what we're just gonna go ahead and do. Pound our desks and rant and rave for a few minutes about a few things.
Okay.
Number one on my rant and rave list is the accidental inclusion of the editor-in-chief of the New Yorker magazine, or was it the New York magazine?
Doesn't matter. They
Or
included
the Atlantic, actually.
Atlantic.
Right. In the highly sensitive group text chat about our war plans in Yemen. And a lot of people are talking about this. But only briefly have I heard anyone touch on the part of this that hit me sideways.
Okay.
I mean, yes, okay. Let's start with all the regular stuff. You know, what kind of idiot plans their military tactics on, even if it's end-to-end encrypted and unsecured group chat on unsecured telephones, cell phones. Like, from the very top, from the very beginning, there is nothing about this situation that ran right. And it is, it's amazing to me that the administration is also just brushing it off like, oh, no, it was a glitch, but it's not a big deal. And I think part of why they feel like they can get away with that is because the bombing run in Yemen went ahead. But that's the part that I want to talk about.
I mean, the only reason they didn't have any hitches is because fortuitously they managed to include an honest, ethical reporter.
Well, also, the reporter thought it was a joke up until the bombing raid happened. Soon as the raid happened, the reporter went, "Oh, crap," and then said something.
But still,
I mean,
once he decided that it was not a joke, he still didn't release sensitive stuff. So that's the only reason things have quote unquote gone off without a hitch, is because
of the fact that this guy's being cool about it.
I mean, if they had gotten one of the BuzzFeed reporters, thought it was a joke, they would have still released it.
And they would have gone with it all the way. Like, they would have told everybody everything.
Yes.
Because they thought it was a joke.
Exactly.
So one thing that I'd like to point out is it's not a problem. Secured classified information on an open channel, no issue. We had this all planned.
Right. That's actually...
Unsecured email server for Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Right? Exactly. And the thing is, Hillary...
I thought I'm her fan, but still.
Hillary screwed up. The scope of her screw-up wasn't very large. The information wasn't very important. But it was a screw-up. This is that. this is that screw up taken to such an extreme degree that it is very illegal. Incredibly illegal for everybody in that group to have done what they did. And I could, in looking back, I could go, okay, maybe Hillary violated a law with what she did. But if we're even gonna put her close to violating a law, this is way over that line.
Now, have you seen whatever supporter sitting there trying to point at the reporter and saying, well, he was in favor of Hillary and he did this and he did that and he's a registered Democrat, and it's like, that's even more reason not to include him in your chat, folks.
Right. But the part about this that I want to talk about is the bombing in Yemen.
Mm-hmm.
And how that is a proxy war. That's a proxy attack for Gaza. But it's an indirect proxy attack for the Gaza war. Because the bombing raid in Yemen is based off of the Houthi pirates blockading the port
for my new company. I spent 7 years.
I think the Mediterranean port area there, or the in any case, the Houthi rebels are blockading support coming in for Israel. They're letting everything else happen, but they're letting commerce happen for anybody in the rest of the area, but blockading anything for or from Israel.
Right.
In support of the Palestinians in Gaza.
Yes.
Because Israel broke the ceasefire agreement. So that's the series of events that have led us to run a bombing raid in Yemen. A place that has been besieged for, as far as I can tell, the last 12 years. And we believe there are Houthis there that are the enemy of us and target of this raid, and they're somehow connected to the Houthis that are blockading Israel, and but I believe the reality on the ground of who got killed in those bombings has a much younger face. I don't have proof of this. I haven't looked into it, but it occurs to me that I'm pretty sure we just bombed the crap out of women and children. And I don't like the idea that we've taken this so lightly, and that we're concentrating on this other argument about how the orders to do this were given.
Yeah.
We've completely skipped over and are avoiding talking about how it's morally wrong. That bombing raid should not have happened, period. That we've killed innocent civilians. That's the part that I want to thump my desk and yell about.
Mm.
And the theater of saying, I can't believe how inept the administration is. I can't believe they'd let a reporter in on that. This theater is managing to take eyes off of the very real toll that has been taken.
Something that I was taught a long time ago, like before I was double digits, was the louder someone is being to distract you, the more you need to look around and see what they're distracting you from.
Yes.
So the very, very cynical part of me looks at this and says, they very fortunately picked someone that thought this was a joke and didn't share and hasn't shared.
Right.
I wonder how fortunate that accident was.
So here's where we need to be careful. We need to have some modicum of integrity in our reporting.
Mm.
I feel like this coincidence is just as coincidental as the October 7th attack by Hamas. That October 7th attack sure did a lot of good for Bibi Netanyahu politically.
Yeah.
It feels... I am not saying that I believe that Netanyahu or some Israeli faction put together that October 7 attack. I'm not saying I believe that, but I'm not saying I don't think it's possible either.
We're not accusing anybody, but we are noting how very...
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
Just asking questions here.
It's just really interesting how the whole thing about, well, how did he get in the text chain has taken away most of the coverage about the fact that there was an attack.
Right. Right. I mean...
And the fact that there was an attack is being used more to underline the fact that he really was added in his integrity. And I say that as someone that is noting his integrity.
Just asking questions here.
Yes.
Now, I want to make it clear that we find conspiracy theories amusing and fun, but we are very careful not to spread conspiracy theories because we know how dangerous they are.
Yeah.
Which is why I am being very careful in choosing my words around this. You know, because there is no proof that either of these things were manufactured. And it would be really hard to find that proof. And so there's no way for this to be proven or disproven, this conspiracy theory, these conspiracy theories. There's no, so I can't in good conscience condone them.
Yeah.
But also, it feels really off. I mean, I also can't attribute that level of intelligence to Trump's team or anyone on Trump's team for the second one. I'm pretty sure for the first conspiracy theory, I could come up with plenty of supporting evidence. While none of it proof, I'm pretty sure it would look really good. So that's how I feel about that. We can talk about. Oh, that reminds me. There's something else something else awful that Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing.
Oh.
Yeah, but now I can't remember what it is.
What's Magic the Gathering up to now?
What's what?
What's Magic the Gathering up to now?
Gosh. What is it? Is it an education
defunding? By the same
defunding?
initials, so hey, I'm just being silly.
I mean, there's a lot
no,
of defunding.
it's taking on NPR and PBS.
Ah.
Right. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to shout and slam my desk about. Not only are they trying to defund, which, I mean, F them. That's fine. NPR and PBS and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, I mean, yes, there is a lot of actual money that comes from the government to fund those things, but they are majority funded by donations from viewers and listeners like you. Go donate to your local NPR station and PBS station right now. We cannot guarantee funding to continue to come from the government for either of these, and they are going to probably need hefty legal funds, because I am pretty sure that what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing right now is coming up with a way to call them anti-American and prosecute.
Yay.
Yeah, they want to do more than cut the funding. And I think that, cutting the funding is awful. But I also have faith in us as a listening and viewing public and community, because I know the types of people that listen to NPR and watch PBS. And in times of tragedy, in times of threat to the public media, public broadcasting, those people come together and pull hard. And you only have to listen to one fund drive on NPR to realize how these people pull through, how they come together for their community stations.
Mm-hmm.
But we should not have to rely on that. They are nonprofit organizations that are guaranteed funding through the government, and they should be getting it. Their only mandate is to educate. No. There are two mandates: to educate and to report the truth. And those two mandates.
That's the problem. Is to educate and inform. And these people do not want educated or informed people. Half of them are not educated or informed themselves.
I mean, yes, you're very right. No, I mean, you're very correct. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insult you like that. You're very correct. It is on purpose what they're doing, and they do it because it's a danger to them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we should be angry about it. It's why we should be donating to those stations.
Yes.
And I'm, shouting about it while only being a sustaining member of NPR, not PBS. So, that's what you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Okay. I'm in space.
Yes.
Okay.
I might run away in about 10 minutes.
All right. Well,
That's okay. You can rant at each other without me. That is perfectly fine.
yes, but let us cover what you wanted to cover now while you are here. And I think that my desk pounding rant is over.
Yeah.
So, Ted Lieu slams MAGA for politicizing Los Angeles disaster relief.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and give us your rant.
For one thing, this is something that's really only popping up in social media now, but this happened 2 months ago when you had the great big wildfires out in California that were doing everything. And while on the one hand, you've got a whole group of people that are going to sit there and go, well, it's LA, that's where all the rich people are. He's just doing... Doesn't matter, because the funding that he was arguing for would have helped the firefighters that were not rich that dealt with this. And, but he chewed out Republicans, MAGA people, just anyone in general that was trying to shove additional clauses in. And he pointed at relief that they had just voted on and given a couple of months previously to hurricane victims. You did not ask them, you didn't force immigration or any of these other things into this. You just said, okay, hurricane, here's your money. And granted, I am paraphrasing.
That's fair.
I'm paraphrasing. But even paraphrasing, he was still very upset. There was one point during this hearing where they were trying to shove stuff in, and he flat out asked them, "Are you a firefighter?" And the people that were responding to questions tried to give, well, no, but no. Are you a firefighter? It's a yes or no question. And made them answer yes or no. And he asked several of them, like, okay, I talked to my firefighters. They said that this happened because of winds that were in excess of 100 miles an hour, meaning helicopters and airplanes could not fly and provide support for fire. Yes. Plus record-setting humidity levels at an all-time low for an extended period.
Right.
So you've got really high power Santa Ana winds and no moisture. Period.
Right. Of course, there's going to be fire.
Of course, there's going to be fire. He said, all the firefighters I've talked to,
Eucalyptus
this
trees.
is the causes. Sorry, what?
Especially with all the eucalyptus trees.
Yeah. Thank you for the wonderful gifts, our friends across the ocean. But he chewed on a good bit about how you had other places that you've given disaster relief to, and you haven't tried to shoehorn this much ridiculous stuff in, ridiculous conditions in for disaster relief, and now you're trying to do that here, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Well, good on him for going off on him.
yeah.
It's nice to have some members of the government standing up for what we believe in. You know, that does bring up something that's that recently is going on here. Is there's a fire? There was a fire. I don't know if it's out. It was contained when I was up there the other night.
As far as I know, it's still listed as contained. It's not listed
it's
as
not out yet.
I don't believe so.
The Humpback Rock fire at Humpback Rock up on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Yeah. Brought up a thought for me that last few times that I've gone out, last few nights that I've been out and roaming around, I've seen some. I've seen some things that it's like, oh, I should stop and get interviews and get footage. I should be a roving reporter. You know, in those moments, I should be saying something.
Oh no!
When I went up to the Parkway the other night, I could see the fire. I could see the fire from some of the overlooks, and I could see, you know, where the fire line was over near Humpback Rock. It's pretty crazy to see that, like, to actually be able to see it like that. That's a little, and I feel bad that I didn't get footage.
Well, according to the Virginia fire map, it was reported as contained Thursday, but it is now not contained. It is listed as active and only about 50% contained from where they were Thursday.
Oh, crud.
Yeah.
Well, if I can, I'll see if I can't get some footage at some point.
Yeah. You head out that way. Be very careful, please.
On hot days in Tasmania, the blue gums other native regions, eucalyptus oil vaporizes in the heat. The oil leaves a smoggy miasma hanging over the eucalyptus groves. This gas is extremely flammable, the cause of many wildfires. The natural detritus under the trees is resistant to microbial or fungal breakdown due to the oils. This makes the tree's oil wonderful antibacterial antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory, but the unbroken down material is like using kindling to start a fire. It's tinder dry and contains flammable oil. One bolt of lightning or a careless cigarette and the forest can easily become an inferno.
And a fair number of eucalyptus trees have been brought into California and planted on the hillsides near the areas.
Well,
Yeah.
dang. Thank you for that science lesson there, Peanut Gallery. That was pretty important. All right. So, what else did you want to slam the desk and shout about there, Kat, before you got to get out of here?
It's less slamming the desk and more just general concern after coming across some of the more recently changed travel advisories from other countries regarding the U.S.
Okay.
Like Germany and Great Britain and other places that are issuing travel advisories for the U.S.
Travel advisory. They're crazy. Don't go there. They're nuts.
For the German one, among other things, they list, make sure your visa is still valid. Make sure you have all your documentation. And don't bring anything with you that could be construed as work tools and an intent to stay and work.
Wow.
Because they have, I think the woman has finally been released, but you had someone that was traveling. I guess she was going to Canada, or she was going either north or south. Got stopped at the U.S. border with her tattoo equipment, and they held her for 6 weeks. They held her for 6 weeks.
Oh.
She was coming in to set up shop and do work.
Oh, man.
And, that's aside from all the others that have just been randomly stopped for no actual reason and held for periods of 2 weeks to 3 weeks for no reason.
Man. Damn.
I'm hearing all of this.
God.
I'm like, I've got grave concerns, not only for people coming to visit, but people that are already here. Because I've got friends from one coast to the other, and people that are either in Mexico or up in Canada that travel back and forth. And it's like,
I mean, I've got Canadian people.
Like I've got friends that are here on student visas, and I'm really starting to be very concerned what's going to happen when their visa is up in May.
Oh man.
And I've got relatives and friends that are full-blooded Native Americans, but I'm also hearing stories in various places that people are being snatched up and detained just because of how they look.
I mean, yeah, of course there's profiling going on. And
then they're taking actual Native American residents and dumping them over the Mexican border.
Right, because they're brown.
Even when they're showing proper ID.
Right, because they're brown.
Yeah.
And after that horrific sentence, today's pre-roll is brought to you by The Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, 105 West Main Street, above the Suite 200, above the bricks between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. A great place to go to get some great buds. A bud, and the only thing better than their bud is their customer service. And they have the lowest prices in town, according to my own highly biased research, by which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my biased research. All of the opinions you hear herein belong to the expressor of the opinion and do not necessarily reflect opinions held by any sponsors of the channel.
Okay.
How was that? Did I get through it?
Well, you did. And on that note, I am running away, and I'll
All
catch up with
right.
you later.
All right. Have fun. Pokemon tournament?
Yep,
Right on. Right on. Go catch 'em all.
I shall try. Happy ranting.
Thank you. See you later. Wow. Peanut Gallery? What would you like to rant about?
Mm, huh. Long list, but I don't have any news articles to back up anything, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
It's not like I had news articles to back up what I was saying. Although I did, you know, I could name the source where I was getting the information from. But it's pretty easy when it's all NPR. You know, most of the news I get and talk about is from NPR.
Mine's mostly based on wage inequality, how companies will post record gains and then say they can't afford to keep half their work staff and fire them just so that their CEOs and CFOs can get another gold-plated yacht and random Filipino slave thing to do terrible things to. But no, we can't let people have actual living wages and be able to eat at night.
I believe that that is a valid rant. And you know, I'd ask, which company do you think does it? But the answer to that is yes. Is there a specific company that sets you off right now?
No, but
Okay.
aside from being a corporate wage slave and having to deal with the ass end of this, and then hearing all the shenanigans going on in the video game industry. Oh, you made a game that did so well, so we're going to make you build a game that is completely antithetical to what you just made, and when that doesn't succeed, we're going to close down that studio while still making record profits on your original work.
Right. It's one of those real dick move kind of things. And it's something that we see happening over and over again across industries. And this finance capital, it makes me wonder how they expect the world to keep running. But what I forget is that they don't. They don't see past the payday. They don't see past their own gains. And so they can't see that if they keep doing this for their own gains like this, they will inevitably run out of space in which to expand.
And then we have the various private equity firms that buy up things with what's known as a leveraged buyout.
Right.
They take a loan for the amount of money that they're using to purchase said company.
Right.
Once the purchase has gone through, the company is now on the hook for the
For the
loan
money.
that was used to buy the company.
Right.
Not the people who took out the loan. We're just here to make back whatever little money that they spent, plus 50% profit,
Right.
and then leave the company who's already in financial problems to begin with, sometimes, with a quadrupled debt. And they've already gutted the company of a lot of their services to make their profits back quickly.
And
So,
assets. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. See that happening a lot. And it was that same...
And I want to do a leverage buyout for a car. I want to get myself a nice Rolls Royce, sell off the tires, sell off the engine, and then front the dealership with the cost of 5 times the cost of the Rolls Royce.
Yup. You know... yeah. Okay, so no, how that would go is you'd have to lease it. You'd take out a loan to lease it, but the loan would be attached to the Rolls Royce. And it would basically, you'd be using the Rolls as capital.
Since the lease expires, the title goes back to the dealership.
Right.
And the dealership is now on the hook with the bank to pay the remainder of the lease. Or the remainder of the loan.
For the lease, for the car that they now have that has no engine, no tires, no electronics, has been stripped of everything, including the grille and hood ornament.
Oh, don't forget the catalytic converter.
And the catalytic converter. You'd have to use the lease as collateral, or yeah, you'd have to use the rolls as collateral, and you'd have to have the language of the loan be that the holder of the title is responsible for the loan, for repayment of the loan. And then, of course, you'd have to put that in really, really, really small letters. To get the dealership to accept it back.
What you'd have to do is have it signed while the dealership is under negotiations to go under new management. So it's signed by the old management, and the new management has to take the bill.
You know what? I like the way you think. Now, we are
What
not...
happens in a lot of leverage buyouts, because the people who take the quote buyout
are
up and
leaving.
leave, since they no longer have any vested interest in the company.
Right. Now, we are not saying that anybody out there should do this. In fact,
No, I am.
for legal
If
reasons...
it's legal for them, then it should be legal for us.
Right. It should be. It isn't. It should be. Although it is that same sort of loan avoidance, loan repayment avoidance technique that's what causes rich people to stay rich after they die. Rich people's kids to get rich, to stay rich after they die.
And of course, one of the reasons why this is legal for private equity firms to do this is because a number of the members of boards of private equity firms also hold government positions.
Right. Of course they do.
Take a look at Bain Financial Group.
Bain Financial Group?
Yep.
You adapted to the money. I was born in the money.
That's a far more respectable Bain.
Well, all right. I feel like we've had our rants. I agree with you 100% on that one. You know, I really do. I'm really sickened by corporate greed and by how these companies, these good companies that are doing good things, can get chopped up and gotten rid of like that. And it's very much the same strategy that Doge is using in the government, with the government. And this brings me to something that you know, I feel like it was the right move for Schumer to continue to fund the government for now. It was the right move to get on board with that. But
Them's a fighting words.
well, it was the right move for him, but I think he should also be ready to be removed from his positions of power. And I think
I'm not
that's
necessarily disagreeing with you. I'm just saying there are some people who feel so strongly about it without
I get
other
that.
consequences that those are fighting words.
I get that, and I respect their position. I do. I really do. Because it was very hard for me to take a larger view on this one and go, the damage would have been so much greater if. And you know, Schumer's not the only one who supported the funding bill.
Honestly,
But he's the
I
one
do
who
not
did it out
entirely
loud.
respect their opinion on that.
The opinion that, which opinion?
That they're calling him a traitor and saying that that what he did was terrible, all that. I do not fully respect that opinion. I understand where they're coming from, but they also have to remember the sheer amount of hypocrisy it is to tell them to say you are a traitor for trying to work across the aisle when they spent 4 years recently trying to get other people to work across the aisle.
Right. That's exactly it. Yeah. I think there are a few people there are a few of them for whom it's not hypocrisy because they were against working with Republicans even before it was cool to be against working with Republicans. But for the most part, yeah, you're right. The people who, when they say that, the people whose opinion I respect when they say that he shouldn't have worked with them are the people who are the not the not the large political group, but the individuals on the ground. The people who are out here talking about it on the regular. You know, I think the larger establishment Democrats need to look at need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask themselves what they're doing. Who's being active? Who's trying to lead? Lou was doing something.
Just to stand in opposition is not a valid stance for me.
That's
I think hardliners are some of the dumbest, most ignorant people in the world. If you are in politics, you are there to compromise to make things better for the greater good. Even if the greater good, in your opinion, involves a much smaller group than most people. If you don't do any compromise, you're not going to make any progress.
I agree. I do. And it's hard for me to agree with that, but I agree with that. I feel like
there are things that one should not compromise on, such as murder should not be a good thing.
right, recognizing that people exist. Child bombing. Like we were talking about earlier, and how that conversation got switched from the horrificness of what we are doing to the procedural irregularities. But hold on, let me see if I can form a full thought here. So So the reason why Democrats did not want to vote for the funding bill was not because they wanted to be obstructionist, but because there was a lot of other stuff involved in that bill that was destructive language, such as removing terms around DEI or transgender from...
I fully understand. There are a number of people who fully explain that, and I understand why they did not want to vote for it. And I understand why they did not vote for it. There are also a fair number of people who voted no specifically because we don't like these people.
Right.
They've got all sorts of good reasons to not like these people. I am not debating that.
Right, but being obstructionist is not politics.
No. If you want the system to change, then the system has to be able to still stand.
I mean, depends on how much you want the system to change.
Oh, when you're trying to change it from the inside by being a member of the political groups.
Right. As they are. Let's clarify that. Like, because I sort of have the you can't destroy the master's house using the master's tools mentality sometimes. But that has a whole much... Hi, Just Me Crystal. That has a whole lot more of a burn it all down and start again feel to it than reform from the inside. And your point about these people being on the inside, working to that goal, then compromise must be part of that action. Correct?
Pretty much.
Okay. I want to make sure that I am representing your perspective correctly.
The system is by no means perfect, but it is designed to be malleable within its own rule set in order to try to improve the system that they
Now-
knew was not perfect.
Now-
We're never going to find a perfect system, because a perfect system
Right.
is only perfect for some people.
Oh, also, perfect doesn't exist. It just doesn't. Like,
What's the quote? Perfect is the enemy of the good?
perfect is the enemy of done.
Perfect is the enemy of the what, did you say?
I said perfect is the enemy of done. As a tradesperson, craftsperson, tradesperson, that saying means, usually that saying means you're getting close to running out of budget for this. Quick, hurry up, get done. Stop trying to make it perfect.
Random joke, completely unrelated. What do you call a musical group of small chickens? Phantoms of the Opera.
Ow. That was good. Phantoms of the Opera.
We're going on the same line. If they're involved in Star Wars, it's the Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That's, oh, man. That hit me in the giblets.
To that emotional whiplash we were talking about at the beginning of the show.
Right? I am so trying to come up with a chicken joke, and I got nothing. I am, my joke machine is just broke today.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cluck you over.
Dang it! I got nothing again. I just keep laying eggs.
There we go.
And on
Yeah,
that
these are really
small,
foul.
I was hoping for some sunny side up jokes, but I just feel a little too scrambled to make any more.
Your brain's a little soft boiled.
2 minute. I feel like anything else, and my humor will be poached from other people.
That's interesting how poaching as a hunter is a bad thing, but poaching as a chef is a good thing.
You know, they thought that until I showed up at the restaurant next door going, I need to poach some eggs. Why are you telling us this? Yoink! Walking out with their eggs, they're going, but, I told you what I was doing.
Guess after that they really felt like they had egg on their face.
It was to be expected.
It's getting harder and harder for these jokes to take wing.
Well, my fine feathered fowl, I think we should probably call it in there before we try to migrate to any worse jokes.
Be kind to your fine feathered friends, for a goose may be somebody's mother.
Knowing that geese are basically murder ducks, of course I'm kind.
Cobra.
Of course I'm kind to them. They scare me. Not afraid of many things, but most of the things I'm afraid of are birds. Geese, emus, cassowaries. I feel
Randomly, on the emu and cassowary, did you know that the kiwi is a relative of theirs?
that explains why I don't like them.
And you know how ostriches, emus, and cassowaries, huge birds, lay these giant eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So does a kiwi.
How?
The egg takes up 1/3 of their body, rearranging bones and organs.
Oh, that sounds uncomfortable. I think my hard drive just crashed on that one. I don't know how to feel about that. That's terrifying. 1/3
They're
of its
flightless, they're small, and they're relatively defenseless, unlike their most closely related relatives that can punch through steel.
right. Although ostriches, emus, and cassowaries can't really fly, can they?
They're all flightless.
Okay. That is the one thing that makes it all okay. They're flightless. They ain't coming to me. I have to go to them. They're not coming to me. A third of its body. Wait a second. It just occurred to me how small a body of a ostrich actually is. I mean, they're all like legs, neck, head, and wing. Body's actually pretty small.
Body's large enough for a grown man to ride on.
An ostrich.
Yes, an ostrich.
How big are the eggs?
The kiwi, their small cousin,
Tiny cousin.
no giant legs, no natural weapons.
About the size of a
About the
human
size of a
fist.
chicken, maybe a large chicken.
Oh, large chicken?
And that egg is about the same size as the emu, ostrich, and cassowary egg, which is a huge
Also-
egg.
About the size of a chicken. Well, no, it's about the size of a third of a chicken. Jeez. Mind-boggling. Just absolutely mind-boggling. Well, on that disturbing natural fact is where we'll leave it for today. Thank you for joining us, friends. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. Thank you, Just Me Crystal. Thank you, Lurkers. Stick around for the raid. And now is the time on the show when I say, as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We're out, y'all.